All right, everybody. Wednesday, December 4th. I am joined by Stephen Gosnell. I'm actually here in Raleigh today. It's freezing cold in all of Carolina. It's been absolutely miserable. Everybody says, move south, move south, move south, and it's freezing cold. But Stephen Gosnell, leading receiver in yards this season with 497 yards, 27 catches. One hell of a career from this guy. Stephen, how you doing, my man?
I'm doing fantastic. Getting some time to relax, chill out, reflect. Watch some movies. Um, just rest up right now.
So, a little poetry before we get started here from Pete McGee. Sure-handed Steven, knock him down, he'll get back up. A first down machine. And you see my subtitle, throw it to a Gosnell. I must have said that 100 times this year. But knock him down, get back up. I know this is not what you like to lean into and what you like to talk about, but I think now that we're at the end of the season, it's worth talking about. And first and foremost, December 27th, you tear your ACL against Tulane. And I remember sitting in the stands, I was like, damn, I may never see Stephen Gosnell play football again. And I'm sure a lot of people thought that coming off the field there and with the recovery time and everything. So I just want to understand like your mindset from the moment that happens to everything else. Like, tell me a little bit about that, like progression for you.
Yeah, I guess I haven't really spread it out in detail, so it does give me some time to reflect. Because as soon as it happened, I really was just like, man, I gotta play. So, um, something happened it happened in the bowl game. Remember coming out, knew something felt weird. It was weird. It felt good the rest of the day, the rest of the night. I thought it was stable. That the everyone that tested it thought nothing was wrong. I was hoping it was just going to be some like MCL meniscus deal. I get the So the day after, I had to literally drive to Roanoke to get an MRI. I get the results that night, and I couldn't believe it. I remember just chunking my phone at a wall. Probably cried for 2 hours. And then, talked with the coaches. And then, for 2 weeks, I basically doing prehab, um, trying to find ways to go about this to where I could play. I almost went the route of not having surgery. I had read some stories where people just didn't have surgeries and it healed and they were able to play. Read a lot about some snowboarders and skiers who did it. But at the end of the day, it was in my best interest to, secure this. And, there had been, you read stories like Adrian Peterson playing in 8 months. And then I read about a rugby player who was back in rugby in 4.5 months. And there was a Clemson wide receiver who also played in less than 6 months. So I was like, if this is possible, then I can do it. So I basically just figured out every single supplement, food, lifestyle method to like speed this up. And then after it, was just push, push, push. I remember probably a week after though, like you're in so much pain from the surgery that it's like I almost was like, man, I don't even. I remember creating a LinkedIn account because I was like, I don't even want to play. I don't even want to play anymore. But then once you kind of get out of the place where you're out off the pain meds, and then you take your first steps, and then from there it's celebrating little wins like that. I posted an Instagram story and I was reflecting the past couple of days. The first time I walked, with a brace, that was just 9 months ago. Um, so getting little wins from being able to walk to run on a anti-gravity treadmill, to being able to cut and then start participating in football. And it was really, I mean, I couldn't ask for a better rehab process. It was really smooth sailing. Like I didn't have a single setback at all.
So, what were the expectations that were set for you? Like, so this happens, and are you being told like, hey, let's try to get you back in the mix in October. Let's try to get you back in the mix in, November. Like, what were the expectations? And then when did you realize that you could, aside from some of the internet research, like, when did you realize that starting in game one was a potential opportunity?
Um, I remember the coaches would joke with me like about that. I remember talking with some of the strength coaches, and they'd be like, "Hey, if you miss the first half of the season, 6 or 7 games, or come back for the last 4. And I just remember hearing all of it, and I'm just thinking you're talking complete gibberish. And I think I realized that I'll be able to play the first game when we got to fall camp. Like I literally, I started practicing, and I probably had one of the best camps I have, and I literally was like, you just didn't leave the field. So then I was like, yeah, this is, we're going to do this. So each practice I gained more confidence with cutting. I was in a blue contact jersey or blue non-contact jersey, but, you have some young guys sometimes. It does, so I got contact before the game. So it gave me more confidence to go out there. And, honestly, the whole season, like I was talking with my coach the other day, like we didn't expect the snap count to be so high. Like I was like, hey, maybe if I get 10 snaps the first game, cool. And I think I ended up playing like 45.
And it was hot and it was nasty. And
Yeah.
I guess was there, because for a lot of people, there's a mental block on when you get that first hit or when you take that first cut or when you take that first, like whatever it is. Was there a moment in camp or was there a moment in the season where you had a cut and it gave you the mental confidence that you needed to go through it?
Shoot, what was it? Yeah, it was honestly, I was out. I did a cut where I was really outside my framework, meaning my foot was way outside my hip, and that's essentially how I did it in the first place. And it just felt really good and smooth. And I was like, okay, yeah, this thing's fine. As far as a mental block, I knew that was a thing for a lot of ACL returnees and stuff. Like that's the biggest thing. Like rehab and the game of football is 99% mental. So I did a lot of went on a really big spiritual journey just through meditation and visualizing that joint healing and me being able to block out my body and just play football.
So Mike Goforth, he's retiring after this year, after 25 years of service to Virginia Tech. He's an extremely special guy to me. I'd love to have him on the show. Just an awesome guy. Cares a lot about the kids. But how much did he help you in the process, or who were some other people in that medical staff or even outside of the Virginia Tech vortex that helped you with it? This is the last question about it. It's just a fascinating tidbit.
Yeah, I love Mike. He was more in this last year looking over of the grand scheme of things, just being around, because he's been through a lot, with his health this past couple years. But Brett, Alex, Zach, everyone in the training room, I give credit for helping me with it. Give credit to a lot of just online videos that I watched. Knees over toes guy, his stuff. So a lot of that stuff I basically just picked and choose exercises, and and then obviously the strength staff pushing me in the weight room. Deej, Dwight Galt is his name. Coach Ferg, Coach Hardy, Coach Allen, Coach Dillard, all those guys really helped me.
So turning the page from a comeback story to a big brother, little brother story here. Hokies beat UVA 37-17. You have beaten UVA by multiple scores in every year you have played them, back to your Carolina years. Mm-hmm. So I want to start with this. Say something nice about UVA and then say something you can't stand about UVA, because they get you hot and bothered, Stephen. We had the kiss goodbye and the be quiet silencer last year. We had some fisticuffs this year. So this is obviously an emotional one for you. So I'm just curious about your thoughts on UVA in general.
All right. A positive one, I think the people over there, I think they're good people. What do I not like? I don't know. I think it's just me once you become a Hokie, when you're around Hokies, that's just instilled to you. And then when you play against them, they mouth off some things, and obviously this past game, they got me to where I lost my composure, and that's what happened.
I saw it happen, and I think this is a testament for just how much trust this staff has in you. And to be honest, it didn't bite anybody in the butt. But I saw one play, and I said, "Oh, Steven's getting a little angry. Might want to get him out of the game." Didn't get him out of the game. He got a little angry again. So was it a little bit of John, or what got you fired up that time in this last game?
Oh, when was it? So Yeah, it was like I think the tackle already happened, and their DB come at me and like tried to like, put his head down, tried to go ahead of me. So I basically just like, I don't know if you could see it on film or anything, but
Oh, we saw it. Yeah.
yeah, I took two hands to his face and just plummeted him. And then the next play, I think it was like a 3rd and long, where I just got like a chunk yardage catch, um, helping fill position, I guess, and they were doing some stuff on the ground as I was tackled, and then I was real hot. I think at that point too, I was really angry because of that. I think that was after I didn't. There was the end zone where I didn't finish that catch, so I was mad at myself already. So I really was just taking it out on them.
So Pop Watson, he's obviously like I don't want to say he's the story of the game, but he was obviously awesome in this football game. So to start this off, can you just tell me about the last 3 to 4 weeks, how challenging this was? And I know a lot of guys who may have not even been talked about were battling through injury, trying to get out there. But each week, like the fan base complains about not knowing who's available, but they kind of forget that you all don't know who is available for most of the week. So
Yeah.
as you're preparing and trying to figure out, make sure you have the running backs ready to go, make sure that you know which quarterback's going to start and you have some chemistry. Like, what was that like from the, I guess, Syracuse game on, or really the entire season? Like, how did you guys approach practice?
Yeah, it was different not knowing, the situation at quarterback. And I think Coach Mines was good for us, telling us, hey, like, whoever plays, that's out of our control. So you go back to just doing your job. So you got an in cut route, you just run the route and let the quarterback do his deal, and he's coached the other deal. But yeah, it definitely, like, I'd be lying if I say it wasn't like hard to just be like, all right, who's playing, um, so yeah, you really don't know throughout the week. But then once it gets ready for the week, you get trust in them. When a quarterback has a full week to prepare, you gain more confidence in them, and I think practice helped our confidence in them for sure.
Well, I got to ask about the chemistry part, because when Pop came into the UVA game, from a timing perspective and everything, it didn't look at all like a third string quarterback. It didn't look at all like somebody who hadn't started a game, and not just hadn't started a game for Virginia Tech, but like you all hadn't been taking reps with him. So was that something that you knew was going to happen throughout the week of practice? Was it like a gamer situation? Like, how were you all able to develop such great chemistry in such a short period of time?
I mean, you go back to fall camp, Pop went with the twos a lot. So, a lot of us were going with Pop, and he had a really good camp. So throughout the week, we're just practicing, and the balls are on time, the balls are getting to you, and he has a smooth ball. So I think once we got to Thursday, we were like, he's ready to play. And then Pop's somebody who's really confident. He's someone really comfortable under his own skin. He's got the respect of the team. So I think for him, it wasn't anything going out there doing what he did.
Can you give me a Pop story? Because it was very funny. We didn't get to hear from Pop on the ACC post-game interview. We heard from Tootin, which was great. But everybody's talking about Pop's that guy who has a lot of confidence. We haven't heard him a lot in interviews. So can you just tell me, can you give Hokie Nation a little bit of an understanding of who this guy is and maybe your favorite story about Pop?
Oh, man. Yeah, Pop's a funny guy. Pop's someone who, he can be goofy in the locker room at times, but it's a confident goofy. Like, he's out there, and I think he's somebody that it doesn't matter what you tell, say, or do to him, or whether he messes up. Like, he's always going to believe he could go out there and throw for 300. So that's somewhere who Pop is. A story about him, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if there's a specific story that I remember off the top of the head, but I just know he's one of the guys that started this shadow boxing thing going on in the locker room. So that's all I remember. They do that every day.
It's so funny because the biggest question mark was, what is he writing on the board? And you're like, man, TV's not showing it. He must have wrote something crazy on that board, and it was just ball game. I mean,
Yeah.
the guy's highly entertaining.
He did that last year versus UVA, I think, too.
So looking at the team holistically and looking back at the year, so obviously, right, what are the biggest challenges like we all understand the challenges from an injury perspective. We all understand the challenges from, really, really difficult calls to stomach after the Miami game, Syracuse game, like things that you can't necessarily control. What was the biggest challenge you think that the team faced that may not have been talked about? Because it's very easy to watch 60 minutes of football 12 times a year and be like, this is what went wrong here. This is what went right here. What is a challenge that you all may have faced or something that you're really proud of that went on during this season that people aren't talking about?
I think you look at it an emotional challenge. Like you look after that Miami game and just how that ended. Like everyone was just, I remember it was one of the worst nights I think of mine and the whole team's night. Like we felt like we won that game, and it just didn't happen like that. And we played a great game, and it really could have been the turning point for us to get things on track. And for that to end the way it did, I feel like the season was just an emotional roller coaster from there. And then you're getting home at 6 a.m. in the morning that night as well. Then you gotta bounce back. You're gonna go fly to California the next week at Stanford. So I think when we did that, we left early on Thursday to go to Stanford, and watching the whole team maturity take on the flight, all the extracurriculars, practicing at a different high school, and then going out there and playing like we did at Stanford. Like it showed what kind of team we were, and then going back, to losing 3 straight close ones again, with just a lot of our team banged up, and then coming back and finishing out the season, with a win. Like there's definitely a lot of things to be proud of. We're obviously disappointed because we know we could have had a better season. But you do look at the resilience of the team and how people just never gave up and never stopped playing hard. It is a testament to the players for sure, and all the people in the building.
Little technical difficulties here with Steven. We're back. I guess my question now, what are you most proud of from this team? Like what is there a specific moment or a specific, I remember back in the 2015 season with Coach Beamer, we had an all team meeting, and, there are a couple times this season where people could have thrown in the towel, people could have quit following that Miami game, following that Syracuse game. What was the driving factor to come back and continue to compete and ultimately beat UVA again in a spot that a lot of people from the outside were worried about?
Yeah. I think it's just everyone's willingness to play and be present in the moment. I think the team understands you can't do anything about the past. And, that week we really, I remember after the Sunday, you're thinking, everyone is just we're really not playing for anything but for a bowl game. But the whole team to just come together. I remember we had a meeting, and the whole team, we brought it up, and we were just like, hey, there's no reason not to go out here and just beat these boys. Like, this is what we do. They were fighting for the same thing for bowl eligibility. So I think everyone came out hungry, and you saw everyone played hard for 4 quarters, and it didn't look like, a team that had just been through so much for sure.
So I'm not looking to break any news here. So I'm just going to ask you, bowl game on the horizon. It's like kind of the cool thing or understandable thing not to play in the bowl game. So what are your thoughts on the bowl game? Just kind of what are your feelings towards the bowl game?
Yeah, to me, it's like, you don't get many opportunities to play this game. And you train probably 320 days out of 365 to play 12, 13 games. So for me, it's another opportunity to go out there and play. And I love being with the team. I love the week leading up to it, all the shenanigans you get to do for the bowl game. So for me, I think it's a no-brainer, and I'm going to go out there with the team one more time.
Can't say I'm surprised by that answer. Excited to see you suit up one last time. And let's talk about looking forward. So what is next for you post-bowl game? What does that look like? What are your plans moving forward?
Yeah, start training. Obviously, pro day combine if I'm blessed to get combine invite. But yeah, so start training. I think I have a good shot in this upcoming draft, whether it be drafted or unsigned. I'm gonna give my all, and I'm gonna go to the legs fall off for sure. So for me, it's just bowl game, New Year's, spend some time with the family, relax a little bit, and then just, start training again. And that's nothing new. Training is something that's my favorite part of football is training leading up to things.
Well, I wish you could play for Virginia Tech forever, but we're always looking at a springboard and looking forward with this team specifically to the bad boys in that wide receiver room. Like, there's a torch being passed to a bunch of young guys, a bunch of really, really talented young guys. So I'm curious, what is your message to them? And who are you most looking forward to watching? You can't say Benji, but who are you most looking forward to watching in that receiver room, or who do you think has a chance to pop off next year?
Yeah, I mean, my message is just treat this upcoming spring ball, like it really matters. Go out there, you get 15 practices, and go out there and find something each practice to get better of. If you can list 15 things that you want to get better at, and you take each practice and you get better at that. I tell people all the time, like spring ball is where become players. Like that's how it was for me, and I've seen it in a lot of other guys taking the next step in spring ball. So I'm excited. To watch, the young freshmen, Chance Wiggin, Brogy Adams. I don't know much about the incoming class, but, hopefully they have a good spring as well.
So moving on to rapid fire here. This was a subject you were asked about a lot the last time you were available with media. And I'm glad they dug in on it, but it has to be reiterated how crazy it is that there are 13 Gosnells. Yeah. So couple questions about that. Who was the first pick in backyard football with all of the Gosnells?
The first pick would be, it depends on what age. Like when I was 8 to 10, I probably wasn't the first pick. So it's like, it depended on age group. And my memory isn't there to like tell you who the first pick was. But yeah, that's the story of it. I don't know. It definitely was.
Who is the grittiest Gosnell? You can't say yourself.
The grittiest. Oh, that's a good question. The grittiest Gosnell. All right. And what terms of like what definition of gritty though?
I mean, do you have multiple definitions of grit? You can hand out like sub grit awards if you'd like.
Well, shoot, I don't know. I guess you have to give it to Benji. He's second from youngest. So we were beating up on him pretty hard. So yeah, you'd have to give it to him.
So Spotify Wrapped came out today. Not sure if you're a Spotify guy or an Apple guy. I know you're a little bit off the reservation. Okay, yeah. So what are you listening to now? Have you checked out your Spotify Wrapped yet? Who's at the top?
I haven't looked at it. I didn't know that was a thing.
Oh my gosh, you don't know what it gives you your whole year of the most listened to artists. It tells you like your listening profile. It tells you you got to get involved. I'll show you a step by step on it. But who do you think would be at the top?
Who would be at the top? I mean, it depends. Like I'm listening to different people, whether it's the summer, fall, or depending on what mood I am on. So I would say like Zach Bryan's still at the top for me because I just listen to him a lot during the summer. Once it reaches winter, though, it's Christmas music. Right. So it's basically just Christmas music for me right now.
We spoke about grounding last time, and I'll tell you what, I've taken it on to some great results. Really enjoyed it. It's been great, especially in my summertime in California. I was walking around barefoot everywhere. Really helps you feel revitalized and one with earth. So my question to you is, can you give us some more health tips? Give us some more things like that to tap into. What else should we be doing? I was talking with Maligel Poteet about anti-fluoride toothpaste the last time we were chatting.
Yeah, so yeah, that's an oldie. If you're gonna do regular toothpaste, get fluoride free. You don't want that in there. Don't calcify your pineal gland. But if you're gonna do another toothpaste brand, you want to get one with hydroxyapatite and xylitol. It remineralizes your teeth and things like that. Wow. And actually, like reverse cavities. If people have cavities, need to reverse and stuff like that. Some more, get in the sauna, get red light, sleep 8 hours a night, and eat red meat. That's basically the game plan.
Have you thought about starting a blog or a podcast on just health tips?
See,
Like good
I
for your
think
body, Gosnell or something? Like, I
I
mean,
think so many people have done that already. I think it's just like, it's basically making a new slice of bread at this point, and it's not somewhere where I don't feel like I have. Um, I don't know if it would be something right now, but
well, think about
all that information's out there. Go look up Andrew Huberman and all them for this stuff. Lane
Mhm.
Norton, uh, Rhonda Patrick, all those people.
I'm not trying to make fetch happen here, but what I am saying is you did recover from an ACL injury in extremely fast timing here. And
Yeah,
usually it's just somebody who gets a ring light and buys an inexpensive podcast microphone to do it. So
yeah.
you do have the story to
Yeah,
base it on.
I think looking in the future, that's something I want to do is return to play in athletics at some level. Hopefully, um, I can play for a little bit longer. But that's something I want to do. That's something I'm interested in is return to play, because I think you see a lot of guys. With this sport, injuries is something you can't prevent. But it's coming back from them is the biggest deal, and to give like a good game plan for an athlete and give them confidence that they know that this is going to get them to even better than they were before, I think is a huge deal. So that's something I want to get into later down the line in life, is return to play.
If you needed one other one to look up, I'm sure you're already following him. I forget his name, but he used to be a tight end for the Titans, and he looks like full blown like Tarzan now. His hair's long. He's living out in Hawaii. I gotta find it, but he's one that I follow along too with.
Yeah.
But good tips. We'll take those into consideration for next time. Moving on, just in your sayonara to Blacksburg. We hope you come back a good bit. What will you miss most about Blacksburg?
The fall here, the games, the fans, the stadium. I mean, I couldn't believe it. The other night it was 25 degrees. We were 5-6, and there was not a single seat open. So I'm just gonna miss the people around here for sure. The culture around here, the facilities, seeing the mountains every day. I'm definitely gonna be back. This is home for life for me. I'm just extremely grateful I got to come here and play here. I can't thank the people enough that let me play here. It's the best place on earth, and I'm going to miss playing here, but I'm going to be enjoying being a former Hokie for life for sure.
Favorite on and off the field moment as a Hokie?
Shoot, probably favorite on the field. What would you have to give? I would say it's a tie probably between like the 4th down touchdown against UVA last year and then the diving catch this year versus Marshall. Those are probably favorite on the field. Favorite off the field thing as a Hokie? It's a good question.
Thank you.
Shoot, playing golf at the river course.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like there was some sort of Instagram story that went out at least once or twice a week about playing at the river course.
I'm not saying I'm good. I probably shoot. My best is 96, but I picked it up this summer, and it's something that you can go out there and just forget that you're even a football player, and just go out there and hit shank shots left and right and still have fun.
So, what about someone not on the football team staff or medical staff, someone not in the orbit of Virginia Tech football that had a huge impact on you and your time at Virginia Tech?
Shoo. Man, that's a lot. I would give Brother Dave. I'm saying Mitch. I'm saying Mitch Mason. He's my old chaplain at UNC. But Brother Dave, our chaplain here, had great conversations with him. We've talked a lot. He helped me with a lot of things through this past year. Losing a couple of people, and he's been through a lot too. So I think having him as like the backbone for players to go to when they're struggling, I think that's a huge thing. So I give a shout out to Brother Dave for sure.
And last one for you, Stephen. How do you wish to be remembered by Virginia Tech faithful? When people say Stephen Gosnell when he was at Tech, what do you hope people remember you for?
I hope somebody that just gave his all every snap, played his nuts off. Somebody that just gave his all to the program. I just, went out there trying to help the team win. you know, whether it be in the run blocking game, whether it be in the pass game or anything else. And, you know, just hope I was a good model for upcoming kids, and I hope I'm an inspiration for somebody going through the same thing.
Steven, you certainly did play your nuts off. A fan favorite. It's been awesome. Want to have you back on again. Don't be a stranger. Looking forward to watching you play in the bowl game or whatever's next for you, my man. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you letting me come on for sure. Appreciate you.